So they are sorted in no particular orders. The first one is learn the basic of programming. I've seen a few beginners that trying to make their own game and doesn't have a firm grasp on the very basic concept of programming, and this will lead them to not be able to solve their own problem or bug, or even worse, they cannot come up with their own code. So programming, or the core concept of programming, is very crucial to learn for beginners. So let's take a look at character selection. When the user press the button, the cursor will move to the next one and the next one and the next one. So how a beginners when to make this type of features? I will be using Godot engine as an example. I got a simple scene here with a main node and the sprite collection for the sprite 1 and 2 and 3, and a cursor as the child of the main scene. It is quite a simple code, but to beginners, they will not be able to come up with this solution on the fly. And I will explain the code. First, I created 3 variables, which is node position, current cursor position, and offset cursor. Node position is an array variable that which will hold all the sprite position. The current cursor position will be a reference to the index of the node position, and the offset cursor to make the selection loop back to the first one. And I create 2 functions, which is the first one, generate post array. This will append all the sprite position into the variable node position, and the update cursor position, which will get the cursor sprite and update the position based on the current cursor position, which will reference back to the node position. And in the input if statement, in the action just press, we need to add the looping logic so that the cursor will move back to the first sprite, which is quite simple. Just get the current cursor position, and if it is bigger than the offset cursor, then the current cursor position will be equal to 0, which will make the cursor selection back to the first sprite. Tips number 2, start small. I've seen a lot of beginners want to make the next gen FPS game with MMORPG element and big open world. Please don't. When you are learning to make games as a beginners, I recommend to make a simple game like tic-tac-toe game, timer app, simple space shooter, simple platform, and other simple game. This is to help you learn the core concept that made up game, whether from the coding side or game engine. Also, it helps using the concept of features in a minimalistic way and easy to implement. Knowing the basic will allow you to make a more complex stuff. So I really recommend beginners to make very simple apps that doesn't take a lot of times, that doesn't need a lot of resources to make. And the idea here is for you to learn the basics, to master the basics, and with that will allow you to make a more complex game mechanics and stuff. And tips number 3, be a good problem solver. Your entire game is actually just a collection of problems that need to be solved. That's it. And by that I mean you do your research, you googling stuff, you experiment yourself, and if still not get a good solution, and finally you can ask people who is more knowledgeable. And in my experience, people will more likely to reply to you and help you if you already making your own solution but it is still not enough. So instead of just straight up asking people for codes, also to learn how to solve problem by breaking them up, make them into small chunks of problems, and you solve them one by one, bit by bit, and that's kind of stuff. Number 4, have patience in learning. Learning takes time, and it takes a lot of time to master some things, to be good at some things. So I hope you do not discourage by the lack of progress, but by the end of it, I can assure you that it is all going to be worth, because you learn something that will enable you to do great stuff, to do great things. So keeps on going, keeps on learning, have patience, and that's it for this video. And I hope you like it, and make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.